Deep within the heart of Oregon lies a forest shrouded in mystery and whispered legends. For generations, locals have spoken of eerie encounters and unexplained phenomena within its dense foliage. Some say it's haunted by spirits of the past. Others believe it's a place where reality and the supernatural blur. In the summer of 2001, three college friends, Sarah, Mark, and Jason, decided to go hiking in these very woods. Unbeknownst to them, their adventure would lead them into the heart of the legend, forever changing their lives. This is their story. In the summer of 2001, three college friends, Sarah, Mark, and Jason, decided to go hiking in the dense forests of Oregon. They were experienced hikers and had mapped out a challenging but manageable trail.
The first 2 days went smoothly. We enjoyed the fresh air, the stunning views, and the thrill of adventure.
On the third day, they reached a remote part of the forest known for its beautiful but treacherous terrain. As the sun began to set, they decided to set up camp near a small clearing. That night, they sat around the campfire sharing stories and roasting marshmallows. Suddenly, they heard rustling in the bushes.
Assuming it was a small animal, we ignored it. But the rustling grew louder and closer, and we could see shadows moving just beyond the firelight.
Nervously, I grabbed a flashlight and shone it into the trees. There was nothing there.
They laughed it off, but an uneasy feeling lingered. They decided to turn in for the night, taking turns keeping watch.
Around midnight, while I was on watch, I heard a faint whispering. I strained to listen, but couldn't make out the words. It sounded like a conversation, but no one else was awake. I shook it off as my imagination and the eerie ambience of the forest.
The next morning they continued their hike, but the forest seemed different, darker, more oppressive. The path seemed to twist and turn in ways that didn't match their map.
Hours passed and we realized we were lost.
We decided to head back to our last known location, but the way was unfamiliar, as if the forest had changed overnight.
As dusk approached, they found an old abandoned cabin.
We're desperate for shelter. Let's stay here for the night.
Yeah, it's better than staying out in the open.
The cabin was musty and filled with cobwebs, but it offered some protection from the elements.
It's not much, but it'll do. Let's make ourselves as comfortable as we can.
That night, Sarah woke up to the sound of soft crying.
What's that sound?
She sat up and looked around, but her friends were sound asleep. The crying grew louder, coming from just outside the cabin.
Mark, Jason, wake up! Do you hear that?
What's going on, Sarah?
Why are you waking us up?
Heart pounding, she woke Mark and Jason. They cautiously opened the door and stepped outside.
Do you see anything?
No, but I can hear it.
The crying stopped, replaced by an eerie silence. Suddenly, Jason screamed and pointed into the darkness.
Look over there!
They saw a faint figure of a woman dressed in tattered clothes, standing at the edge of the clearing. Her eyes glowed an unnatural white.
Oh my god, what is that?
Get back inside, now.
Terrified, they ran back into the cabin and bolted the door. They stayed up all night, too scared to sleep.
We're never coming back here, ever.
At dawn, they packed up and hurriedly left the area, vowing never to return. When they finally found their way back to civilization, they told their story to the local authorities.
To their shock, they learned that the area they had been in was notorious for disappearances and strange occurrences. The legend spoke of a woman who had gone mad after losing her family to the wilderness and had disappeared without a trace. Some believed her spirit still roamed the forest, luring lost hikers to their doom.
Years later, Sarah returned to the area with a group of paranormal investigators. They found the cabin, now even more dilapidated. Inside, they discovered a journal, its pages yellowed with age. The last entry was from a woman who described losing her way in the forest and being tormented by whispers and visions. The final line read, "If you find this, please tell my family I love them." As Sarah read the words, she felt a cold breath on the back of her neck and turned to see the same glowing eyes from that night, watching her from the shadows. The investigators captured it on film, but when they reviewed the footage, the figure was gone. Sarah left the forest for the last time, but the haunting memory of that night stayed with her forever, a reminder that some spirits never find peace. Thank you for joining us on Mr. Brain Byte. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and keep your mind sharp.